games in big-time spots. Here we go. Sox down 4-0, bottom 3. Boston 0-26 when trailing by 4 runs at any point this season. Little foreshadowing there for the people. Connor Wong ropes one to the monster, clears it. Sox trail 4-2. Bottom 4 now. Red Sox down 5-3. Anthony Siegler. This one's going to go down the right field line for a double. 2 runs are going to score. Siegler is fired up. We are all tied at 5. By the way, White Sox, nothing to sneeze at this year. They've been fantastic. Let's go to the 9th. Red Sox down 7-6. Runner on 3rd. Abreu is going to hit one up the middle. Runners coming home. Naturally, Boston scorching hot right now. Tie game. We're going to extras. Top 10, same score. Chase Mydroff. Let's get a Chicago White Sox highlight in here. Crushing one to left. Will it get up and over? It does. A souvenir for the fan. He's probably throwing it back. That was Mydroff's 2nd homer of the game. White Sox up 9-7. Andrew Monasterio. Gonna jack that off the monster. He's bringing in a run. Boston would tie it up with a sac fly later in the inning. We play on. Bottom lucky 13. Tied at 11. Caleb Durbin up with 2 on. He's going to rope that one up the middle. Runner's coming fast. Runner's coming hard. Runner is in. Red Sox win their 8th straight, 12-11. First win of the season when trailing by 4 or more runs at any point. 4 hours, 23 minutes, longest MLB game of the season. Red Sox stay hot, especially against good teams. They've now won 13 games against teams that entered the game with a winning record. That ties the longest streak by any team in the expansion era. So, without further ado, Buster Olney, kind enough to join us this morning to talk about all the wheelings and dealings in baseball last night. Buster, your single biggest takeaway from the regular season stretch the Red Sox have ever had?
Yeah, Joe, that game last night was one of the greatest regular season games that I've ever seen. Think about this. The Red Sox trailed at some point in 10 consecutive innings, from the 3rd inning to the 12th inning, and then they win in the 13th. And this embodied what they've done during this stretch, the great at-bats, the fight from guys like Siegler and Wilyer Abreu in the 9th inning, and Caleb Durbin at the end. Just amazing how they've been able to put this together. Monasterio, and look, Chad Tracy, their manager, took over. He still has the interim tag. Does anyone think that he's going to be let go before the end of the regular season? How about taking that interim tag off Chad Tracy? He has done a great job. The Red Sox are doing this against really good teams. Look, they swept the Dodgers, then they sweep the White Sox. Pretty amazing.
When you talk to evaluators around baseball, is Boston now considered the team to beat in the American League?
You know, Joe, I don't hear that yet. Yes, people respect what they're doing, but there's so much to be determined before the end of the regular season as we get to know exactly what the Red Sox are going to be before we get to October. We don't know if Garrett Crochet is going to come back. We don't know if Roman Anthony is going to come back. We don't know what the Yankees are going to look like as they get guys like Aaron Judge back. So I think it's going to be determined by the injury situations. I can tell you this, there are a lot of evaluators who believe that the Red Sox bullpen is good enough to win in the month of October. It's been absolutely dominant during this stretch.
All right, Buster, sit tight. I want to get your thoughts on the hottest team in the National League after we take a look at what they did last night. And that, of course, would be the Chicago Cubs taking on Dylan Cease and the Toronto Blue Jays. Cease was absolutely dealing in this one. Sit down, Bregman. Dansby Swanson's at least going to swing. Here's PCA, your MVP favorite, frozen by a changeup. 7 innings, 10 strikeouts for Cease. Bottom 9, Cubs down 2-0. Bregman struck out earlier. Not this time. Runner on, 2 outs. Hammers the ball to left. Gone. 2-run shot. Game tied at 2. Just like in Boston, we're going to extras. Bregman celebrating in the dugout. Cubs red hot. Bottom 10, still tied at 2. Runners on 2nd and 3rd. Carson Kelly is going to hit a liner up the middle. Check out Ernie Clement. Shades of Ozzie Smith, the Wizard, saving the game with a ridiculous catch. We play on to the 11th we go. Bottom 11, tied at 2. PCA's on 2nd. Michael Busch up to bat. Michael Busch, sit back, relax, and enjoy. PCA is going to try to swipe 3rd here. Throw, catch, no good. Here comes PCA. Cubs win it 3-2. Their 11th walk-off win this season. Your MVP favorite in the National League. So, Buster, magical summer at Wrigley Field. Why do you consider these Cubs as the biggest hurdles to the Dodgers three-peat?
Joe, because they were one of the biggest winners at the trade deadline, adding Kevin Gausman, adding Clay Holmes, giving them the depth of pitching to challenge the Dodgers if they meet in a postseason series. And it's the experience of the everyday lineup, the great defense that they had. Look, recently, Craig Counsell, their manager, told me about how he loves to play home games in Wrigley Field because the Cubs players are used to the conditions there, the pop-ups that go up. You see fielders on other teams struggle with that. The Cubs know how to deal with that. They have a more distinct home field advantage than any team in baseball because of the experience of that position player group.
All right, so let's round out that top three. You've got the Cubs as the biggest threat to the Dodgers, so who would be after those top two?
I've got the Milwaukee Brewers at number 2. I've got the Yankees at number 3. I love the Brewers because obviously when you have the Miz on the mound, this is someone, Jacob Mizorowski, you can shut down any great lineup because the power stuff that he has. And they do have guys, whether it's Kyle Harrison, Logan Henderson, who by the time we get to the postseason, maybe they could be the sort that could match up in a Game 2 start against the Tarek Skubal. And look, if Aaron Judge does come back, and he's close to being what he's been in the past, the Yankees could be a great team by the time we get to October because of the depth of their pitching staff.
The Yankees have an incredible run differential despite the fact that Judge has been out so long. He's only going to make them that much more dangerous. Before we let you go, if there was one series this weekend that we should circle, which series would that be?
It would be the Braves against the Yankees. Tyler Mahle is going to be making his Braves debut. I think there were a lot of Braves fans really unhappy with what Atlanta did at the trade deadline, thinking that they would get one of these premier starting pitchers removed. They didn't do that. Tyler Mahle was the guy they picked up from the San Francisco Giants. He was pretty good in his last 4 starts, a 3.24 ERA. But let's face it, I think he's got a lot to prove as he joins the Braves to see if they can join that elite group of National League teams.
Tremendous insight as always. Buster Olney, thank you very much for your time.